Hi everybody, I'm doing a follow-up video for my previous video of the review of the 8Bitdo N64 controller. I had so many issues with the other one, it just wasn't working right. I had a funny feeling that it might be the firmware that I updated to on the previous one, but that's just a guess. It just was not working right. So I got my hands on a new controller, and I tested it out on my Raspberry Pi, and it seems to work great on that. So I had an idea in my last video is to actually see if the original N64 buttons and joystick may work on this controller, because the feel just isn't as high quality, or just doesn't feel as right as the original N64 controller. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a video. I'm going to open up the joysticks on both controllers and swap the buttons just to see if they work. I'm also going to try soldering in the original N64 joystick in place of this to see if it works. So that's what this video is going to be about, and that's what I'm going to do. Okay. I was able to purchase a broken N64 controller off of eBay for a couple dollars. I tested this and this does not work. The joystick is really loose, and I plug it in and it doesn't even pick it up. So, but the buttons are fine. You can see it's kind of scraped up. I don't know if the resolution's high enough, but scraped up. The button is just not in overall good shape. So I'm going to use these buttons, put them in the original, and I'm going to take apart the joysticks and compare the two to see what the differences are. So there's no reason to film me taking them apart. There's just some standard screws, and I'll pause it here, just take them apart really quick, and continue on in a second. Alright, so I took apart the blue N64 controller. Looks similar to the other controller I took apart in the other video. And here is the joystick module. I've noticed from the original video there was actually a circuit board on my transparent orange controller, and this one does not have it. So I don't know if there's a revision done, but this looks like it's the original controller. So you can see how loose it is. So I want to see if I either can repair this or fix this, or maybe just swap the casing and use the same internals. I don't know. I'm going to see if I can get this working. But here's the original, and here is the 8Bitdo one. These are soldered to the board. I'm going to desolder these and see if I can take this apart. But just at a glance here, it looks like there's some sensors here on the side compared to the original, which does not. Maybe it's under this plastic housing, I don't recall, but I'll take them apart to take a look. Okay, so here are both of the joysticks. This one's really easy to desolder. Just placed my hot iron on there and pulled the wire off. It was really easy to do. Only took a couple seconds. But yeah, here are the two modules. So what I'm going to do is remove the screw and take the little snaps off and see what it looks like on the inside. These things can spring apart, so I'm going to do this off camera to be sure I don't lose any parts. Alright, so I just removed the one screw and it already started to come apart, so I figured I'd record it really quick. There's two snaps on the back here and the one screw in the front. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so if I recall correctly, you have to turn this 90 degrees, I believe. You turn, okay, you turn the lower part 90 degrees and it should come out. There it goes. Okay, so this does look, from what I recall, very similar to the original N64. So here's a spring, provides tension. Looks like there's a metal O-ring there for the spring. And this looks very similar. So it has these plastic pieces in here. This is the hardest part to replicate, from what I recall. This is what gives the N64 its feel, are these little plastic pieces right here. Looks like there's a couple sensors here on the side. As you can see here, it turns left and right and turns this little dial here, and this sends a signal to the controller. Same on this side. There's 3 wires on each. So that is the 8Bitdo joystick. Okay, very similar. I'm going to take apart the original one right now to compare the differences. Okay, I removed the one screw and unsnapped the snaps on the top here, same as the 8Bitdo. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. See if I can turn, I think I have to turn the joystick here. Oh no, maybe I turn the, there we go. Okay, so the whole housing came apart. So it is a little bit different. There we go. Okay, so here's a circuit board. The joystick wedges, I'm not sure what these things are called, look very similar. They look very similar, but the circuitry is different. Looks like the two sensors are here, and what can tell the read are these little wheels here with little holes in them, which is, I believe, an optical sensor. I'm not entirely sure how it senses the movement, but there's little slots in here. I believe it reads the little slots when it's moved. Okay. So here's the bottom portion. It's really gunked up. I think I'm going to have to do a major cleaning if I'm going to use this in the new controller. So that's that. So I'm going to try swapping parts to see if I can get the feel to be the same. Okay, so I've been inspecting the original and new joysticks, from one from 8-bit and one from the official Nintendo, and I noticed a few differences. So I won't be able to, at least I don't think I'll be able to swap directly. Well, the main difference, which I mentioned earlier, was the fact that the new joystick uses looks like a more of a, I don't know, like not a servo, but a turning mechanism for the joystick, compared to the original, where it had like a gear system on the device. Okay, and then a circuit board that sits around it. So it is different. Some other notable differences: the joysticks themselves. Okay, I don't know if it can come through in the camera, but the new one is just slightly taller. If I line it up, you can see it's just slightly taller, and the original is also a little stockier. The ball here is a little thicker. Yeah, you can kind of make that out in the video. And the joystick itself is a little stockier as well. And I also noticed a difference too in the top cabinet and the top joystick compartment. This is the new one. This is the original. It doesn't go down as far. So the new one here seems to have sharper edges, and also has a deeper cavity here compared to this one. It's a little bit shallower and also a little more rounded. I don't know if it's because it's worn out over time, and also the overall feel seems a little, I don't know how to describe it, a little more milkier. I don't know if that's the right description. Or this one, it seems like a cheaper plastic type feel. But those are the two differences. So what I think I'm going to do is clean up the controller. These little gears that were in the original, it looks like this larger one is worn out a bit, as you can sort of make out. It's worn in the center here, which is giving it the wobble. The smaller one here seems to be okay. I'm going to clean them up a bit. I picked up new plastic pieces. These don't feel as sturdy as the original, but since one of them's already worn out, I'm going to just do a direct replacement and see if I can get the feel to be the same. And then I'm going to determine what wire goes to what and solder it to the board here. I'm going to clip this end off here and solder up the wires and see if I can get this to work. So I have a little bit of work ahead of me here, and I'll give you some status updates shortly. Okay, I'm back. I was doing some investigating in the way these joysticks are set up, and these are not, at least to my knowledge, not swappable. I thought I'd be able to solder in the wires here to the board, but the circuitry is completely different, at least to my knowledge, unless someone out there wants to take a look. Okay, so on the new board, or the new joystick. I took this apart, and it looks like it's just a simple potentiometer. If you take out, let's get a focus in here. I can't really focus, I'm sorry. So if you take off the little thing here, oh, there it goes. It's just a little indent, and all this is a little potentiometer that has a little plus sign. And you simply stick it in here, and it rotates it. That's what's giving it the not authentic feel, because you can, as you're turning, you kind of feel like grinding. It's not much, but it's there. Compared to the original, where it doesn't use a potentiometer. It simply has a sensor inside detecting the rotation of this dial here within here. So this sort of sits in here like so, and it detects the motion. So you're not getting any friction. In here you can feel a little bit of friction when rotating the stick. So that's what's not giving it the authentic feel. So what can I do? Unfortunately, unless someone can come up away with the wiring diagram, I was looking at the circuit board and I was pinning everything out. I don't know if you could read my drawing here, but I was taking my multimeter, testing each pin and where everything went. And in essence, let's see here, what I put down here. In essence, pins 2 and 3 on the top here are power and ground. 1 and 4 is for data left and right. 5 and 6 is for up and down, and it runs on about 3.3 volts. Okay, that's about it. I don't know anything about these potentiometers. The part number on here, I googled it, is B103. It's listed right here. I don't know if these are swappable. If anyone wants to take a stab at it, more than welcome to. So I'm going to just simply put this guy back together. If I tried swapping out the joystick itself, and there is a size difference, as I pointed out earlier. Let's see if I can. The inner ball here is a different size, and it doesn't fit. So, and also the depth is different, so it just won't work. But the buttons themselves are swappable, so I'm going to do that now, and I'll show you how to do that. Alright, so I got everything back together here. I was able to fix the original joystick, so it doesn't wobble anymore, and it does feel so much better than the new one, just side by side, but I guess this will have to do. Alright, so those were them. Alright, so direct button swaps. Let's see what I can do here. So I'm going to wiggle out the board. Take out the left and right. Let's see, be gentle about it. There you go. Okay, so here's the whole board, like I showed you in the last video. Put that aside for now. Alright, direct swaps. So here is the original. Okay. I'm also going to replace the pads as well, if they fit. Let's see if they fit. They should. They look very similar. So there goes the start button with the pad. Directional, A and B, and the C buttons. Alright. So now here's the original. We got the D-pad here. Start button. A, B, and C buttons. A, B fits. I'm sorry, A fits. right here or not. Okay, this one seems a little more snug than the other one. Let's see how it goes. Okay. These are all keyed to go in specific spots. I should have been careful when taking them out. Okay, there's one. There goes this one. There goes, lay it down. See up. Okay, there you go. So all the C buttons fit. So all the buttons fit perfectly. Let's see if the original rubber membranes fit. Okay, that looks perfect. D-pad. Perfect. Alright, start button. There's normally little tabs on the C one, so I don't think this one's going to work. I'm going to have to go with the original. Let's see if it fits. Yes, it does. Okay, so that fits in there as well. Okay, so you have to use the original rubber membrane for the start button, which isn't too bad. Okay, let me put back controller board. Okay, and I think the original left and right may fit. Let's see. Oh, they do. Look at that. Okay, so if you look, there's a little pinhole here, and there's also little solder joints here, and there's actually a little rubber membrane fits right over it, and there's a little dimple there for the two inserts, which is awesome. Actually, it might be easier if I just get the shot here. Yeah, with a little bit of play, they go right into spot place. It's awesome. Cool. With this side here. Just have to try and get them into the screw hole. Yeah. Let's see if I can get it better job. Okay, you may have to wind the hole a bit just for it to fit a little bit better. I'm going to get a little tool just to wind it a bit. It doesn't look like there's any circuitry there, so let me try that out. Hold on. Okay, so I just used a little screwdriver, wind it a bit, and it fit in there just fine. Okay, and then I'm going to use the original L and R buttons. Let's compare it to the original here. Okay, so here's the right. Look very similar. It looks like the flange on here is just a little longer. Let's see what it looks like installed. It's loose. It doesn't sit as securely as the original N64. That's okay, I guess. Let's see what happens when I put it all together. Let's see, where's my left? I have to find, oh, here it is. Okay. Now, Z button replacement. Okay, so on the original one, it just snaps off, just roll it inside. It should just pop right out. There you go. So I'm going to put the original in here. Fits perfect. Now I'm going to use the original pad, simply because on the, the new pad, the original pad is a lot different and it won't fit in the cavity here. So I just simply put it right here. The button felt pretty close to being the original anyway. Okay. So I'm going to solder up the original joystick and seal it up. Okay, so while I was waiting for my soldering iron to warm up, I noticed something interesting. The cases are pretty much swappable. With a very little modification, you can fit the original controller board into place and it fits perfectly. You just have to kind of adjust the L&R buttons. But as you can see, it fits right into the board perfectly. All you have to do is notch out a little bit where the cable goes and remove a few plastic pieces. Pretty much get some pliers and remove these two posts here. These are for the expansion port, no longer needed anyway. So peel those off. I took my Dremel and I ground down the top portion here, and there's also a stub here that needed to be grounded out. And that was it. It only took me 5 minutes. I'm still waiting for my soldering iron to warm up. So I think I'm going to use my blue case here, even though it's scratched up. The feel of the plastic on here is a lot better than the original. You can even, let's see, let's compare the two. You can even hear the difference. It's more, it seems like a cheaper plastic compared to this one. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to swap the buttons back and fit them back in the original and just put the board right into here. Okay, I'll show you that shortly. Okay, so I got everything back together. One noticeable difference here, the screw holes don't really line up perfectly for the joystick. I got to work though. I just screwed in the bottom one with a black screw from the original N64 controller. And you can see how it looks. There is a slight gap around the top here. Not really noticeable unless you're really looking at it. But I like the feel of the entire controller itself, and the buttons feel good here. So I'm going to leave it like that and see how it works. Okay. Okay, so I got it all back together. I soldered in the wires for the joystick. I also decided to use the left and right triggers, just simply because they fit just a little bit better with the original pads on it. So this is it. Now the red sync button unfortunately won't come through on here, so I may have to make a hole for that. And I also had to remove, there was a plastic piece here. I just pried off with some pliers. And let's see how the initial fit looks. Again, the red button may be in the way. Of course, the left hand button pull out. Oh, and these little things always fall out, so you kind of have to. Actually, let me try it this way. Set it up right. Place it together. Okay, there might be some other things in the way here. Oh, no. Okay, something else is in the way. I have to determine what's keeping it separated. Something right about here. So let me take a look. Okay, so the backing does not fit. You least I couldn't get to fit at all. So what I think I'm going to do is just use a gray back and a blue front. Let's see how that looks. So it looks like it fits together. So I'm going to put the Z button here. Okay, Z button's not pushing down correctly. Neither is the L and R. I guess the alignment's off. Alright, so I have to test this out here. Okay, so I got some bad news. I could not get the controller to fit in just right into the blue housing. Even though I cut these things away, it looks like the housing that sits in here, sits this way, just doesn't fit in the cavity right here. It's either too high or too low, and it just can't get to work without tinkering with it. But the surprising thing is that the shell itself is actually really close, with some small differences. Just cut out this stuff and it fits perfect in the front. So maybe someone out there will want to try and take that on to try and fit it in the original shell. And also, if anyone has any idea on how to wire up the original joystick with the information I provided, please let me know, and I'll take a stab at it to try and hook up the original joystick in here with what wires connect to what. I'm not entirely sure, unfortunately. But I got everything back together with the original buttons in here. I had to change the start button. Apparently the circuit board sits farther back. That's why this start button's a lot deeper than it should be. So the only thing original on here is the start button and the joystick. All up, down, left, right, A, B, and the C buttons, the left to right, and even the pads for left and right I soldered in to make them feel a little more original. Oh, and also the Z button feels really good too. Okay, so that is it. So just a simple button swap. I know I went through trial and error trying to get other things to work on here, but this seems to be the best setup for right now. I'm going to go try it on my Raspberry Pi and see how it plays.